And here's the thing. Even though we're called to be holy and righteous in the midst of struggles, if you go to verse 1, he says you need to do that in not only out there, but you need to make sure you're doing that in your home. Right in verse 1, he deals with the home, the first 8 verses. First, he looks at wives and he says to them what? Wives, submit to your husbands. Then he goes on and he says, husbands, be considerate and respectful of your wife. And if anybody's been paying attention lately, the devil is working overtime, destroying marriages. Marriages are falling apart everywhere you turn. He's working, ever since Adam and Eve, he's been working to destroy what God put together. And the marriage is, oh my gosh, people, now at one time we were surprised if you got divorced. Now we're surprised if you're still married 2 years later. And we're surprised if it's 4 years later and you're happy. It's coming apart. And I believe there's a lot of reasons for that. There's a whole lot of reasons. If you ever counseled with people whose relationship is falling apart, there are a lot of reasons for it. But in this particular scripture, he deals with 2. He deals with the woman's inability to submit, and he deals with the husband's inability to respect her and treat her accordingly. And when that falls apart, you're already going the wrong direction. Regardless of all the other things. In this particular things, wives, submit to your husbands. What does that mean? How does that make sense? Well, the definition will help you understand it. It means to do this: surrender to the authority and control of another. That's what it means. It's struggle, because when I was sharing this with Janan the other day, she said, can you find another word than submit? And I said, I tried. But all the translations say submit or be subject. And I think submission sounds a little bit better than being subject. It's in every one of them. And here's the reason why we stress it, is because in Scripture, in the New Testament, we see it come up on at least 2 occasions. We see it come up in this occasion, and we see it when Paul writes to the Ephesians. And I'm asking myself, why did he bring this up? Women should know that. It's not America. It's not 2023. Women do not have rights. They were living in a world where the husband was the head of the household. So why is he bringing this up for people that should know that? And the only thing I can conclude is because when there's stress and there's trouble and there's hardship, that's the hardest time for a person to turn around and to submit to someone else's direction when you don't agree with it. Here's what it ultimately means in basic form, in a simple way is how I would explain it. If you are going to get married to a man, anyone who's single in here, or if you're going to get married, or you are, can you be okay with understanding that there are decisions that have to be made in the home that at times you're not going to agree with? Are you okay if it always goes his way? Simple. You're married, or you're going to marry this man, and there's going to be countless decisions that are going to affect the family, are going to affect the future. Are we going to move, or are we going to stay? Am I going to take this job, or am I going to take, whatever it is, there are decisions. I've been married 30-some years. Trust me, and Tommy have been married 57 years. I'm 57 years old. They got married when I was born, and they're still together. And I bet they'll look at each other and look at you and say, there was all kinds of decisions that had to be made in our home that we didn't always see eye to eye. Are you okay? I'm not saying it has to go this way. What I'm saying is, if your man always ends up with what he wants and not what you want, are you okay with that? If you're not, don't get married. Stay single. Don't ruin his life. Don't ruin yours.